A 95-pound Doberman that nobody wanted returned 4 times, labeled aggressive, untrainable, unlovable. Every shelter worker said the same thing: this dog will never find a home. But then, a 1-year-old baby girl did something that left everyone speechless. And what happened next? It changed everything. His name was Shadow, a 95-pound Doberman with a jet black coat, razor-sharp ears that stood like towers, and eyes that made most people cross the street. He was beautiful, he was powerful, and for 3 long years, he was completely alone. Shadow was returned to the shelter 4 times. The first family said he was too intense. The second said they scared their neighbors. The third lasted only 11 days before bringing him back, claiming he growled at their guests. The fourth family, they didn't even give a reason, just dropped him off at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning and drove away without looking back. Would you have given him a 5th chance? The shelter staff started calling him the unlovable one, not out of cruelty, out of heartbreak. They had watched this dog sit in the same concrete kennel for 847 days. They had seen the hope drain from his eyes with every rejection. Some dogs bounce back. Shadow didn't. He stopped wagging his tail. He stopped looking up when people walked by. Here's something most people don't know. Dobermans were originally bred in Germany as protection dogs. They're not aggressive by nature. They're loyal to a fault. But loyalty without a family to protect? That's just pain with nowhere to go. By the time Sarah and David walked into that shelter, Shadow had given up. Sarah was 7 months pregnant. David wanted a small dog, something calm, something safe. But Sarah, she stopped in front of Shadow's kennel and didn't move for 10 minutes. "Why does everyone keep returning him?" she asked. The shelter worker hesitated. "He's a lot. Most people can't handle a dog like this, especially with a baby coming." David pulled Sarah's arm. "Let's keep looking." But Sarah knelt down, and for the first time in months, Shadow walked to the front of his cage. He didn't bark, he didn't growl, he just pressed his nose against the metal bars and let out the smallest whimper. "We'll take him," Sarah said. David thought she was crazy. Honestly, most people would agree. The first week was chaos. Shadow didn't know how to live in a home. He flinched at loud noises. He wouldn't eat unless someone sat next to him. He paced the hallways at night like he was waiting to be abandoned again. But then something shifted. It was a Tuesday evening. Sarah was resting on the couch when the baby kicked hard. She gasped and placed her hand on her belly. Shadow, who had been lying in the corner, suddenly stood up. He walked over slowly, sniffed her stomach, and then did something no one expected. He lay down right next to her belly, and he didn't move for 3 hours. From that night on, Shadow slept next to Sarah every single night, not at the foot of the bed, right next to her stomach, like he knew something precious was inside. Some people say dogs can't understand pregnancy, but can they feel it? I think you already know the answer. 8 weeks later, baby Mila was born. The doctors warned them, the internet warned them, even David's mother called, begging them to keep Shadow away from the baby. Dobermans are dangerous. You're risking your daughter's life. But Sarah trusted Shadow, and what happened in the hospital room proved she was right. When they brought Mila home for the first time, Shadow was waiting at the door. He didn't jump, he didn't bark. He walked over to the car seat, looked at the tiny human wrapped in a pink blanket, and gently, so gently, pressed his nose to her forehead. Then he sat down and he didn't leave her side. Look, if you're still here but haven't subscribed yet, honestly, that stings a little. We put our heart into these stories. Hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to see what comes next. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the bond between Shadow and Mila became something no one could explain. Every morning at 6:15 a.m., Shadow would walk to Mila's crib and wait. Not barking, not whining, just waiting. The moment she opened her eyes, his tail would start wagging, something the shelter staff said they never saw him do. Fun fact, Dobermans rank as the 5th most intelligent dog breed in the world. They don't just follow commands, they understand context, they read emotions. And Shadow, he read Mila like a book. When she cried, he would lie next to her crib and hum, a low rumbling sound that somehow calmed her faster than any lullaby. When she learned to crawl, he walked beside her like a bodyguard, blocking the stairs, nudging her away from sharp corners. When strangers came too close at the park, Shadow would position himself between them and Mila. No growling, no aggression, just presence. The same dog that 4 families called dangerous had become this baby's guardian. Stories like this don't get told enough. If that just made you feel something, you're exactly who we make these videos for. But the moment that changed everything, it happened on a cold night in February. Mila was 18 months old. It was 3:47 a.m. David and Sarah were asleep when a sound echoed through the house. Not Shadow's usual quiet patrol. This was different. He was barking, loud, urgent, relentless. David ran to Mila's room and found Shadow standing at the crib, barking at the baby monitor. At first, he didn't understand. Then he saw it. Mila wasn't breathing right. Her face was pale. She was choking. They rushed her to the hospital. The doctors said if they had waited even 10 more minutes, it could have been fatal. A piece of soft fabric from her blanket had partially blocked her airway. Shadow saved her life. The same dog that nobody wanted, the same dog that was returned 4 times, the same dog the world called aggressive, untrainable, unlovable, he became the reason their daughter is alive today. When they got home from the hospital, David sat down next to Shadow for the first time. He didn't say anything. He just wrapped his arms around that 95-pound Doberman and cried. "You were never broken," he whispered. "You were just waiting for her." Shadow leaned into him, his whole body relaxing, like he finally understood. After 4 rejections, 847 days in a shelter, and a lifetime of being misunderstood, someone saw him, really saw him. Today, Mila is 3 years old. Shadow is 7. They eat breakfast together, they nap together, they have matching Halloween costumes, and every night, without fail, Shadow still checks on her room before lying down at her door. And that concrete kennel where Shadow spent 847 days alone, it's now a distant memory. Because sometimes the ones the world rejects become the ones who save us. Not all heroes wear capes. Some have 4 paws and a heart that never stopped hoping. Is this love or instinct? Would you give a rejected dog a chance with your baby? Tell me in the comments.